about the Russia and Ukraine war. We can also talk about Israel and Hamas and all that stuff. So basically, there's a lot going on with Israel. Not yeah, Israel and Hamas. I think they're trying to talk about a ceasefire and all that kind of stuff. Joe Biden's been withholding weapons. That's important to Israel. I think they're going to use that against Hezbollah. Uh, the real issue that we are having with all of this, and this is going back to Ukraine and Russia, by the way, is that they're talking about a ceasefire with between Hamas and Israel, but where was the ceasefire talk with Russia and Ukraine? I think Russia is advancing on Ukraine's second biggest city. They sent airstrikes, killing 11 people. I think Ukraine destroyed a minesweeper, a Russian minesweeper today, and this war is getting out of hand. We're having basically our allies in NATO are talking about wanting to bomb Russia and get involved in the war, talking about airstrikes. We also, Ukraine is asking our permission to strike within inside Russia, which they have been doing anyways with drones and everything. And the whole thing is with Ukraine and Russia is getting out of hand, and it seems more and more likely that World War III is probably going to happen sometime in the near future. And you also see that when China is basically sending warships to Cambodia and stuff like that, saying that they were friendly or whatever. It looks like everyone in the world is trying to form allies, and it's happening. Like basically both sides are finding their allies and trying to team up and all that kind of stuff against the other side. And like I said, I don't really see a way out of it. I think World War III is very, very, very likely in the near future. I mean, we were stepping right into it, and Vladimir Putin already said that if they can't win this war, they will use a tactical nuclear weapon, which will be a smaller year weapon. It won't be like a CMI or whatever, the big missiles that everyone talks about when we think about nuclear war. That ain't going to strike New York. It's going to be like a small missile, probably hitting a military base, probably won't go more than 20 miles as far as radiation and stuff like that. It's probably not going to be an issue, but it's going to be shocking when it does happen. And it's going to be the most shocking event that we've seen. And I think Ukraine is essentially going to lose this because no one's going to basically trade New York for Kyiv or whatever, or they're not going to trade Paris for Kyiv. That's just a fact. And there's no way for Ukraine to actually win this war. We need an off ramp. That is a fact. We need some type of off ramp, and part of that may be Putin just keeps the Donbass region, and Ukraine keeps the rest of their country. I mean, that's the only way I see that this is going to end, and that's basically the deal that Trump is essentially going to make, anyways. So I mean, I don't really like if he wins office. Trump's going to try to make a deal, and that's probably the deal he's going to go with. I don't know if Putin's going to take it at this point because he thinks he's winning. He's. Well, all these verifications that are supposed to be they're defending the second biggest city in Ukraine that we paid for. We gave them billions and billions of dollars. Where was all that money? And they keep asking for money, money, money. Where is all this money that we are giving them through our tax dollars going? It's going into the pockets of the corrupt in Ukraine. Ukraine's like a really corrupt government, and we are just basically keep giving them money, and a lot of it's going into politicians' pockets. It's not going to fight the war. It's not going to fight the Russians. And why are we even funding this? That is the question. And I know a lot of people are saying because of the grain in the war, yeah, that's important. We should defend that, but that's why we should make an off ramp with Putin. But every time there's been trying to strike a deal with Putin, the NATO, Boris Johnson was the last one to cut the deal off. I mean, there has to be a deal at some point. Ukraine is not going to be able to defeat Russia even with our help. Like that's just a fact. The Russian military has not even used their pinky. Like maybe the tip of their pinky. We haven't even used the full pinky, let alone the full hand. Russia can come down hard on Ukraine, and there's nothing that the United States or NATO can do about it unless we bring them into NATO, which would cause World War III anyways, which I kind of think when we're already in it, I mean, it's not going to be long before China has to invade Taiwan. Like, we've been talking about that. That's the whole deal. That's the main thing, because of all microchips are made in Taiwan. And that's what goes into everything technological. So if basically China gets a hold of this technology and the microchips, they will control all of technology for the next 100 years. We want to control that for the next 100 years. And that's really what this is all about. Who controls the world at the end of the day? And is it going to be the United States or is it going to be China? And all of this doesn't matter. Like Israel, Hamas, it doesn't matter. The conflicts with Iran doesn't matter. Ukraine, Russia, a lot of that doesn't matter, because all the source, everything can be traced right back to one entity controlling all of this, making all of this happen, and that is China and the United States. That is the warring faction. That is the true war between us. We want to control the microchips. China want to control the microchips. Whoever controls those microchips controls the world. That is what World War III is really going to be about. They can say it's all about all this and that and whatever, and that Russia and Ukraine and Israel and Iran and all that kind of stuff. The people behind all these proxy wars is China and the United States. China is the one basically funding Iran and Russia. I mean, they're already making deals. They're selling weapons. They're using North Korea as their proxy to give weapons to Russia. I mean, we see that right now. And think about it. North Korea isn't that advanced technologically. So, I mean, Vladimir Putin is more advanced than North Korea. So why would he get weapons from them? It makes no sense unless those weapons actually come from China, and China are using North Korea as the middleman to hand over these weapons, which makes more sense when you think about it. The true masterminds behind the war, the true masterminds behind what's happening in the Middle East, all of that, it's all coming from China. They are the domestic enemy. That is what we need to realize. I mean, we're in debt with them. We're borrowing so much money with them that we probably can't pay back. Even, I think, there was an undercover with Steven Crowder, with the CIA agent or something, and they're basically saying that they're worried that we could all be speaking Chinese because they are the true enemy. That's to tell you something. China has always been the enemy of the United States, and they want to be they want to be where the United States is now. And we're already seeing our collapse happening. It's happening.